Hey guys, and welcome to the show. Today I have the Tekin FXR motor combo. I got this with a 45 turn motor instead of a 35 turn motor like I usually go with. But the difference in these is that the higher the number goes, the slower and the more torque the motor will have. So usually you're going to want to look for the best motor for your vehicle. Usually a 35 turn motor is really good. It does a lot better than a 27 turn, and I think it's one of the most common motors that there is. But the FXR combo, you get the ESC, the motor, and so it's basically the whole system. You don't have to piece it together. But right here what I have is these are called brushes, because these are brush motors. So they use these brushes, and let me open this up here a second. So this is what you get here. This is the thing that pushes up against on the shaft of the motor, and this actually makes your motor work. And then this is the spring that pushes that up against the motor. So right here I have an older motor. You can see that they screw in right there, and the spring is right here, and then they get really short before they stop working. But once you put a new one in, you can definitely tell that it works a lot better with the newer brushes in it. So when you're picking up a new motor, make sure you pick these up, because in the winter and you have snow in your truck, these get really soft because I think they're brass, and you wear through them really quickly, and it seems like your truck motor's not working, but actually all you need is a set of these. But they're from Tekin. I think this is called a rebuildable motor. But yeah, sorry, I almost dropped it. But here is the code to buy some, just in case you're wondering. You're best off to buy these from Tekin, but you can get them from other companies too. Alright, so getting into it here, you just cut this tape on the back here. Can't really tell, everything on this is clear. So this comes open, and then you can open the flaps up, and then they use this like sticky stuff on the motor, which is really a pain in the butt. But right here, you have like the capacitor and double-sided tape to tape your ESC down, and you get 2 zip ties for your wires, I do believe. And then usually you get 2 different sticker sheets. There's tons of different ones you can get. I've got about every different variation now. There's like this golden one with black, and then there's the white and black, and I think they have red and black too. But I use Tekin in all of my trucks except for the Axial Yeti, because I've done no upgrades for that yet. But just pulling this stuff out. So here's the ESC, nice and small, and it's labeled on here B negative, B positive, M positive, and M negative. So the M is for motor, and then B is for your battery. So your battery will connect to B, and then your motor will connect to M. So that's pretty simple, and then you always want to make sure your capacitor's on there the right way. And you can look this up in the instruction manual. You just gotta search for it. There's a picture, and it's pretty self-explanatory. But they use this sticky goop. You're gonna want to make sure you get this off first. Alrighty guys, so I've gotten a decent amount of it off, and I just wanted to show you guys how you tell the motor positive or negative. So this side right here, it's just black. You can barely tell it's there, but Usually I like to do this tab right here because it's away from this spring and you don't have to worry about soldering that spring. So I like to do up here, and then on the red, this red means positive, and I usually like to solder here, but sometimes I just solder on top of both of these just so that they're coming off the same end. But I'm going to get the soldering gun out and basically show you guys just a little bit about soldering. I'm not the best at it, but I've been learning over time. So here I've got my Dremel soldering gun, and I've got a couple different kinds of solder. There's a bunch of different kinds of solder, and you just gotta find the one that works for you, that kind of sticks how you like it, and that should be fine. But right here I have this is called tip, tinner, and cleaner. So this basically cleans off your soldering gun. You just melt it in here, and yeah. But here I've got my ESC and the motor, and what you're going to do is you want to tin both ends. I've already got the ends tinned on here, but I like to have one glove on that I'm going to be setting stuff around with, and then I like to have this hand bare so that I can hold on to the soldering gun well. Now you always want to make sure that you've got a good soldering gun, and usually some of them you can buy at like Radio Shack or whatever. I've had a red one, and definitely get, if you haven't been in the hobby for a couple of years, get yourself a new electric one, just basic. This I would still consider basic, but it has many different tips like a cutting blade and I guess a detail work sort of one. But anyways, you always want to make sure you tighten the tip on this one before you start soldering, before you even plug it in, because this one has no switch, which is kind of disappointing, and there is no indicator that shows that it's hot. But you always want to make sure you have a good soldering gun, and if you feel like you're really working to try to solder well, it could be many different things. Maybe the soldering gun's not getting hot enough, maybe your solder is not sticking well, but you always want to figure that out before you get too far into your project. But here's an ESC I've had sitting around for a little bit. So what I'm going to do here is, let me see. Also, something helpful if you're working alone is these. They're called helping hands. It's for soldering, obviously, or I guess anything else that you need to work on. But just gonna move this away. You can hold things in certain positions, like if you're soldering wire to wire, that will work nice, or you're soldering wire to plug and you want to get it done quick so you don't melt the inside of your plug. That's also something that can happen when you're soldering, is if you're soldering too long on those plastic Dean's plugs, they will tend to actually melt the joints, so it won't want to go together real nice, and you can tell a good joint from a bad joint from how well they go together. But you're also going to want shrink tape, and I almost soldered that without any shrink tape on it. But just pick a good size. It doesn't have to be exact, but you want it to be pretty close. So I've got my two pieces here, and you just want to put these on the wire as far away as you can from the joint, just because if it does heat up too hot, it'll shrink the shrink tape before you can get it over the joint, which is never a good thing. So anyone that's thinking about starting to solder for the first time, I don't have much advice, but just be careful. I have been burnt before and it does not feel good. So just make sure you're safe and don't hesitate too much because it's a lot easier than what you might think. Alrighty, so that's one done. One more to go. So when you're soldering, you want to use this hand for the soldering gun. If you're left-handed, use your left hand, and then use your other hand to hold the solder, because you're going to want to be applying solder to the joints as you're soldering. Once you've got your stuff soldered up, make sure you don't touch the soldering gun, because once you unplug it or shut it off, it's not instant. So you just want to be careful. That will take a long time to cool off. And then usually you'll want like a lighter just to do this heat shrink tube with. But don't go too close or it'll kind of start to melt instead of shrinking like it's supposed to. Basically that's it. Besides doing the lining up and things like that on your RC, I can't really help you with that. You basically just want to put it up here against your motor in the slot with the screws in so that you can rotate it, and then just spin the spur gear around against the motor and make sure you're not hearing any noises that sound bad to you. Just simple things like that. And if it's too far, you could strip some of these teeth out. So you always want to make sure that you have it at a good spot that works for your truck. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you like this video, and let me know if you want to see more electronics videos, because mostly I just do basic parts like bumpers, hitches, and shocks, I guess. So thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. But have a nice day.